Hello everyone, Spencer here, and today I want to talk about just magic cards, as I would talk about all the time, magic cards, but specifically alternate art in magic cards. I bring this up because a couple of years ago, I think it was during lockdown, bored out of my mind as I was furloughed, I went to go and play a quite well-known game called League of Legends again. And I used to play quite a bit, I was never really very good, but I used to enjoy it. And so I went to play again, and not only had there been so many other characters released that I just couldn't keep up with it, but all the characters that I thought I knew looked different. And it was due to the amount of skins that had been released and the amount of skins that people were playing with. And so basic characters like Ashe, Sona, all those ones that I played with when I used to play in the beta, they were basically unrecognisable to me. And it's just, lately in Magic, we've been getting more and more alt arts. And some of them are absolutely fantastic pieces of art, and I don't want them to stop doing it, but I wondered if there is a way of them doing it without making everything look so different. Because my worry is that we're going to get to a point and we're not even going to recognise what people are playing from the other side of the room, or whether it's a proxy or not a proxy. Not that proxies are bad, I am pretty much pro proxy. I think they have their place, obviously not in tournament play and stuff like that, where it's obviously heavily regulated, but obviously for fun kitchen table Magic and just playing at your local game store casually at the weekends and stuff like that, yeah, proxy whatever you want to do. That's a whole other conversation. But the point is, we're getting to the point where it's hard to recognise what is an official Magic card and which Magic card you're actually playing against sometimes. And sometimes, the key variants of art can look very different. And some of those, like Praetors that came out in March of Machines, Brothers War, stuff like that. And March of Machines, was it March of Machines? We got the Praetors, the Fractions, or will be one. Maybe it's Fraction will be one. But also even in Nuka Penna, the Viking set. What was the Viking set called? Can't remember. Got one of the cards here. So, but yeah, we're getting loads and loads of alternate art variants. In fact, in the new Ixalan, there's 7 versions of Mana Crypt. Yes, that's a special guest slot, and there are only slight colour variation differences, but still, we're getting a lot of different things. And I just wanted to put out a few examples to make sure I'm not going crazy. So we'll start off first with the simple stuff like Negate. Quite a common card, everybody knows it. It's reprinted in most sets because of draft, but these are just the 3 versions that I've got. I think I might actually have another one in my deck that I forgot to pull out. But these all are relatively the same. You could play any of these and you'd recognise that as Negate, because all the text boxes are the same, it's just the flavour text that's different. All the text boxes are the same, all the framing's the same, all the wording, it's just a slight different in picture, and even these two have colour themes that tie in and match. So there is a slight representation of that colour theme here, which is nice, but I feel like it could do with being a bit bigger to further represent the Negate card. And I think if they did things like that, then they're onto a winner. People could easily see that's Negate or that's Negate, whereas somebody casts that, starts to look slightly different, but it's all in the same border, all in the same printing type, font, everything, layout, framework, everything's the same. So different art in the box. That doesn't worry me so much, but it does worry me a little bit when we start to get things like this. And this is not that I'm against can we focus please camera, the anime style art or anything like that. I just ask the question if it's actually relevant to the card and actually on theme, which we've seen with a couple of the recent anime arts that have come out. I don't really feel like they're relevant to the art card, it just looks like generic anime art put on cards. But anyway, these two, they're pretty much the same, but this could quite easily be a proxy. Obviously it's not, this is Jumpstart 2022, was it? And so the only difference on these is obviously the flavor text, and then obviously you've not got the reminder text for Flash. So besides the artwork, but everything else is the same frame, border, everything like that. So that's not 100% awful, you know. There's a lot of similarities between the artwork, the way they've done the mist and stuff around here, and tied that in and matched it with there. So you can tell it is still representation of this card. So I can get on board with this. Just make the anime art relevant. I don't know if she's a pirate in some anime or not. And so I can get on board with that. There's a few others I can get on board with as well. These ones I cannot get on board with. These are just way too similar. When I'm sat playing against an opponent and they've got 4 of these, 5 of these, or an entire deck, all with these as their basic lands, they're all black, they're all white. It's so hard to tell from across the table what mana they have available. Are they holding up a Swords to Plowshare, or is it a Fatal Push? You know, like, it's so hard to tell. And then when you ask the question, what mana have you got available? They know you're trying to play around something. So if you've got white up and then they go to do something, you're like, oh, okay, so they were playing around a black spell because now they feel comfortable going, I've only got white. And that gives away information. It doesn't matter so much to us average Joes and people playing on the casual level side of things, but it's those little bits of information that eke out an advantage at CDH tables, at professional play, tournament levels, where every play matters. And also it just stops confusion from that player as well. Like, I'm sure there's many people that have played and gone, oh, I like these black and white ones, put them all in and then cast, boom, 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 I'm going to cast this. Oh, actually, you don't have enough planes. Oh, sorry, mate, they just all look the same, I like this all. You know, it stops errors like that happening on that player's behalf as well. And so I find that just a bit tricky to get on board with. Like, there's got to be some way of doing this full art without it being too confusing. In fact, we saw it with Phyrexia again. That's the biggest one I can think of recently. We had the full art red, blue, black, and they all had the Phyrexian symbols and different patterns around it, but they were all their own colour, even though they were a very similar style. And so you could see, that's red, that's blue, that's white, that's black, etc., etc. That's all good. That one's hard to identify, very hard to identify. And why this one has a purple border and that one just has a white border, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I guess they did that to try and highlight that is more black, but it just doesn't really help. The white ink would have stood out better against the black background. But hey ho, I'm not on the design team. Other types of alternate art we've got are these types of things, where we have the where they break out the borders type thing, and stuff like this is cool. But where it will start to get confusing is when we have too many of these. Now, a lot of these mutate cards, they're not played a lot. They're in fringe decks, stuff like that. That just does not see a lot of play. And so while they are quite cool for the people that like those cards, they're not very common in a lot of decks. When we get to the point of we have 5 different alt arts in this style of your heuristic studies, which we pretty much nearly do at the minute, you know, your smothering tides, which we're starting to get to that point of all your generic spells like your Swords to Plowshare, Path to Exiles, your Generous Gifts, or the new Stroke to Midnight, which is becoming the new staple one. You know, take your green ramp spells like Cultivate, Ramp and Growth. You start to have crazy art variants of them all the time, and we're going to get to the point where someone's going to play Ramp and Growth. What version's that? What version is that? Or if somebody's just come back to playing the game for the first time in a couple of years, I've never seen that card in my life, you know, oh, it's that card, it used to look like this. And it's that the skins, the artwork on them are going to confuse people and potentially create a barrier. I don't think we're at that point yet, but I think if we keep going at this alt art like we are doing, these variants, there's so many different foil treatments, so different art versions, so many different secret layers now. Some of the secret layers, they don't even look like magic cards. They don't have the text across the top and the mana symbol across. That maybe the mana symbol's in the middle and the text is spin around the outside, and then the reminder text all like squiggly and whirly, and then it doesn't line up in the way a normal Magic card does, and it makes it harder to play the game that we all enjoy playing the game. Yes, it looks cool, but it makes it harder, I think. Other things that I've noticed, like we've got the Japanese alt art cards. So these, besides the art breaking the frame, you know, everything else is still in pretty much the same position. Obviously, if you can read Japanese, you're absolutely fine. But yeah, so we've got Nissa, the mana symbols are in the same place, same here, same here. You know, you've got the titles over here. Obviously, you've got all your descriptions, all laid out and patented the same way in the same formatting as every other card. So I can get on board with that. That somebody plays that, it's a Vivien Planeswalker. I can see that's a Vivien's Planeswalker. I can see that's a Nissa Planeswalker. Yeah? Probably helps that they are Planeswalkers and you can see the stylized text box for Planeswalkers, but the art doesn't detract from such a level of what the card is. Yeah? Other types of alt arts we've got are the stained glass. This was quite popular when War of the Spark came out and that first started happening. It was in the promo release trailer and stuff like that. And here we can see that they've changed the colour of the background box from the classic normal white ones, like all of these. See all the formatting, the frame, it's all the same on all of these. So there is a uniformity to it. This is where it starts breaking to that next level. It's almost like it's approaching the full art style cards. Now, I'm not a big variant person. I don't see the point in having a foil version of this when I've got the basic version because they both mechanically do the same thing. I know some people love foils and they love alternate arts. It's not something that I'm drawn towards, hence why I only have like a very minimal collection of them. But yeah, this is starting to break the rules of this a little bit more, but it's still noticeably squee if you can get on board with the artwork type thing. The formatting and everything is still the same. But what we're getting to now is this breaking this formatting, this styling is becoming more and more common. Like, this used to be a promo card. Well, it didn't used to be a promo card. It still is a promo card. But this styling is now going to cross over onto other styles of cards. So you can see we've got this darker border in the background. I think this is this the next foil? I don't know what this, or whatever type of foil this one is. This was one of the Baldur's Gate sets. It's Gale from Waterdeep. I think it's in Baldur's Gate 3. Was it Commander Legends 2 Baldur's Gate? Don't know. Can't recognise the ball. That many sets. So yeah, so the point is that this styling that was once released for a promo card, so you could clearly tell that's a promo card of Spell PS, is now becoming commonplace in generic rares across the sets. Which lastly then brings us, I'll get across to the complete frame breaks in a second. I just wanted to point out this as well, like, this is one of the reasons why I don't bother with going out and getting alt arts. Like, if I get them in my packs, then it's great. If it's an expensive one, I tend to sell it, and then I'll probably use the money to buy up the cheap version if I need that card, and, you know, pocket the extra. But yeah, here we have a full art. Yes, it's a Planeswalker, but it's a full art. You see how the art extends all the way around the entirety of the image. Yes, it looks like it's cut off at the bottom here, but that's just the style of the image itself as it fades to black, so you can read the text. And then on here you have extended. So it literally extends out here at this end. And that's it, doesn't extend down here. So this is all black, and it's all black around the top. And to me, that's just like, why bother? Why create this variant? Just make it full art. Just stitch this little bit of the green border and make it a full art one like this, and just have that as one style. Yeah? It's just creating another variant for variant's sake, which just dilutes the pool of cards that we as players pull from. Like, just make it full art. This doesn't give us anything. Does not give us anything. And I think, as the professors pointed out about these extended art ones, like, it doesn't actually give us anything over the top of the normal art which is in the box. It's just the artwork's been stretched out. So yeah, Full art or framed. Stop with the extended middle of the ground, doesn't achieve anything. These ones. Okay, so focus Ree's camera. Focus please. There we are. So this is kind of like the Masterwork style ones. And when the Masterwork stuff first came out, like the cards looked unique. They were different and they were special. But now all those cards that came out as Masterworks, we've now got loads of other stuff that look in that style. Jake and Joel talk a lot about Throne of Eldraine being the start of the alt era, or the variant era, I think they call it, and how we started to get all these crazy shenanigans. And don't get me wrong, when these first came out, I was like, yeah, this really draws into the the fairy tale lands and stuff like that, and the theme of the set. Same with Kaldheim, that's the name of the set, Kaldheim, there you go, come back to me. Using this like runic, like Viking pattern style and construction, and I think it really like builds upon the theme of the set. And then we had this like Art Deco style one come through for the Streets of New Capenna. But the point is, like, they are all so different. Like, in 10 more sets time, if every set has got a different border like these, that's so many more different style borders, so many different more patternings. Yes, they've kept things relatively the same. Obviously, the adventure card looks slightly different because it's an adventure card, but they've kept all the boxes white rather than going across to these like dark style boxes. But it's the framing that's changed, yeah. And so, in small amounts, I don't think there's a problem. But when we're playing EDH and stuff, and we're playing across from an opponent, and it's just every other card just looks different, and it's hard to recognise at a quick glance, I think it's going to create a problem, and it could potentially put off returning players. And we won't know we've got that problem until we've got that problem. And so it's difficult to try and be on top of a problem and fix a problem before it's a problem. So it's something tough to envision and see, and it's quite easy to just dismiss and go, yeah, like it's just a different art. It's just different art, and it's like it's hard because we do want desirable full art styles and unique art cards, and we do want those elements, but we want them within a reason, within a boundary that keeps things sane, I guess. So people aren't picking up every... Do you mind if I read that? What was that again? Well, I don't recognise that card. You know, because all of that breaks the flow of play. Like, and then it's just one of those things. But yeah, causes misplays, especially in like tournament levels and stuff like that, when things are critical and people are playing for like big prize money and stuff like that. Like, I guess the other one that has had 1 million artworks is Opt. We see a lot of big problems with this on Arena. I've completely given up playing Arena. Like, when obviously you open cards on Arena, if you open Artwork 1 and then you open Artwork 2, but you've already got 4 of Artwork 1 and only 2 of Artwork 2, you'll get to keep that one. And it's like, you might end up with, like, I think on Arena at one point there was like 12 different versions of Opt. It's just completely pointless. You only need 4. 4 absolute maximum, and you're probably not even running 4 Opts in your deck anyway. Maybe you are actually within like your main and sideboard, but then again, I don't really play standard these days, so God knows where it's at, or historic, God knows. So yeah, I just wanted to put this out there and get the thoughts out of my head really about skins and alternative arts. And while they are very nice and very enjoyable, and some of these look absolutely beautiful and stunning, these I hate. Like, love the full art, hate the extended art, hate these. I think these breaking the frame stuff is very, very nice. It leans, I like it when it's done subtly. I think sometimes, like the Pokemon card, they go too overboard and it's just too crazy and it's hard to then read the card. But yeah, I just think, yeah, it could get out of hand within the next year or so, and yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And I don't know WotC can deal with this, because once the cat's out the bag, the cat's out the bag. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Am I just a grumpy old man that is not staying on top of all the cards and information well enough, so therefore I'm getting confused easy? Or is this actually going to lead to a problem further down the line that we need to be aware of now before it gets too crazy? Or is it just something we just need to accept and just go, nah, we just have to rely on knowing the cards, and when someone says they're playing Negate or Spectral Sailor or whatever Lovestruck Beast or Planeswalker they've got, that we know that card by name and have to retain that information, which is obviously difficult when you're playing 4 people. 4 individuals are playing in a pod, and that's 4 decks of 100 cards. So there's 400 cards, all unique potentially. So a lot of information to retain. But anyway, that's enough ranting for now. Let me know what you guys think, and stay safe out there, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.